Hello and welcome to Education at SSBJ online video tutorials. We were in chapter number 15 of class 8th Science CBSE, Some Natural Phenomena. We have already discussed occurrence of lightning. Please recall the previous information regarding lightning. Lightning is due to electric discharge in the sky. Now second natural phenomena is about earthquake. So these two are to be studied in this chapter. Now going ahead with earthquake. What is an earthquake? Earthquake is a sudden shaking of Earth's surface and it will last for a very short time. Right? So two important points. It's a sudden shaking of Earth and it will last for a very short time. This is what an earthquake is. So an earthquake is sudden shaking, please remember this, or trembling of the earth which will last for a short time, right? Often we read on newspaper earthquakes happening here and there on earth, but please remember that earthquakes occur all the time, all over the earth. Only thing is we don't notice them. We notice only the major earthquakes which are less frequent. These are the earthquakes. They can cause immense damage to buildings, bridges, dams and people. Sometimes these earthquakes results into floods, landslides and even tsunamis. To understand how does an earthquake occur, we need to recall what we have learnt in class 6th as well as class 7th, that is about structure of earth. We have already studied this in previous classes, so we shall just again recall all these contents. What you watch here, this particular portion is a core, and even this also is a core, but we'll call this as an inner core and this one as a outer core. Both together it is called core. So the first one, which is in the white color background, is inner core and next one is a outer core, right? So this core together is called core, is in the center of the earth. It is solid, okay, and it has got a very high temperature around 5000 to 6000 degree Celsius or centigrade, right? You may ask that why in spite of 5000 to 6000 degrees centigrade, the minerals such as iron and nickel which is there are not in a liquid state. They can even melt, but the pressure on this is so much that it is totally compressed and therefore there is no option for getting melted. So they are in the form of solid, right? So please remember that core is in the center and this has a very high temperature. Now the next one is mantle. So this portion is mantle. Again, a mantle can be divided into lower mantle and upper mantle, okay, just for our reference. Because if you go for a lower mantle, let us say from here to here, okay, lower mantle is molten. What does it mean? Molten means it is semi-liquid, okay, it's a semi-liquid, means it is not just like a watery thing, it will flow but it is kind of a solid, right? When there is an volcanic eruption, you find magma which is coming out and that is out of this particular part, right? When there is a opening somewhere here on the crust, through this opening the magma goes out. That's we call it as a volcano, right? Now as you go to upper mantle, okay, the matter becomes solid. and then solid, and it solidifies more there, right? And that becomes totally rocky. But it is not a single rock. It's not single. It's fragmented. And what do you mean by fragmented? It is broken. It is there in terms of pieces all over. And these pieces are called plates. These plates are named, right? So you can see right on your screen a different plates here. You see here Eurasian plate. Somewhere here again a Eurasian plate, right? That is the plate where we are very near to. You can even see the direction of how they move. So these plates keep sliding in different directions. So once again, upper layer of the earth is made of small fragments, and these are the fragments. They keep moving. The question is now why they move, right? To understand that, we'll go back to the different layers of the earth and see what do you mean by convection current, right? So let us start from first inner core, right? Inner core is of very high temperature. Now please remember here, inner core is of high temperature, right? I write in short here, which is surrounded by outer core. So both together can be called as core, and this consists of more heavy elements, and it is in the form of solid, right? Please recall what we have learned. And this, after this, we have a layer called mantle. Now here we need to discuss more now, and this is the layer which is responsible more for movement of those so-called plates, right? This is layer is mantle, and the one which is very thin here on the top, we all use it for agriculture, cultivation, and to move around, to construct house. That is the layer which is called crust, right? So you will find plates on the earth. And what are plates? Plates are pieces of huge solid, right? And we have learned that they move. The question is, why do they move? Well, this is a time to know about convection currents. Now let us go a bit slow here. Imagine that we are preparing a tea, right? And we put water here in the container. You all know how it is to be prepared. And then we use heat, right, at the bottom. And then over a period of time, this water will start getting heated up and starts boiling. Okay, we also add tea powder here. Now at this stage, if you watch the tea powder, you will find tea powder will be moving to the surface, top surface, and those which are on the top, they come down. We observe this because tea powders are visible. Otherwise also, whenever you boil water in a container, same force will be there which is towards upward and downward when you start heating them, right? This is what is called current. Don't get confused with the current, electric current. It's a force. It's a kind of push. Understood? What actually happening, the molecules of water, particles of water which is there at the bottom, they receive heat first and they move further to the top. And rest of the particles will come down. So there is continuous circulation of hot water to the surface and cold water to the bottom when a water is being heated, right? And this is what is called convection current. Now here in the case of earth, this is very hot and this is semi-liquid. The same thing happens here. How this heat is used to move these particles upward and then downward, the same thing happens here. There is a movement of these particles upward and then the surface particles will come down. This happens all around and causes a convection current in the mantle area, okay, inside the earth. And because of this, there is always a push on the surface rocks, and those are called plates. Understood? So these plates are always pushed, and pushed by what? Convection current. And why convection current? Because of the heat which is there at the core. Understood? So there is always movement of this particle. So continuous movement of this particle develops more pressure on these plates and they start to slide, and sometimes they collide. Collision takes place, and because of the collision there is a disturbance, and that disturbance in the plate results to sudden shaking, and that is what is called earthquake.